So my son and I went to the forest last week, and I did an EVP and paranormal video recording out there in the woods. And in a 14-minute long EVP session near the fairy tree, where locals have called it the fairy tree because they've seen things out there for a long, long time, for decades. I asked out loud a question, Beniko, will I see you physically again as I have been? And then we walked a few yards towards some part of the forest from the bridge, which crosses over to the fairy tree. And at this point in time, my son and I began to hear someone small-sized walking through the forest floor towards me. Someone that I would describe as sounding lightweight, short in stature, but it was footsteps, someone walking towards me. When we played back the recording, we could hear my question, Beniko, will I see you physically again as I have before? And I heard a female say, yes. And then on the recording, we can hear the footsteps of someone walking towards me. In 8 years since remembering meeting her, and she has the answers I'm looking for. It's not going to come from anywhere else or anyone else. It is her. I said before, she has said she wants me to go with her. I said I don't know what she means because she hasn't said yet. Now, I appreciate the kind comments in the last video. Thank you. You thought enough to write what you wrote. Those directions, the people that you told me to talk to, and all. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, oh, it's a wasted. Thank you. No, yes, thank you. Anything. Research isn't about closing a door and opening one door and that's it. I mean, she has the answers. She's priority. I'm going to talk to her. Second to that, I'm going to listen to what you're saying, and I'm going to take that on board and follow into what your suggestions suggested. And so we'll go that direction. That's the direction to go. The priority is to this forest. It seems to be this is the location. This is where she's at. And I have videos in the past. I have gone to the forest alone. I have visually seen her. I have gone towards her. I feel only love. We're sharing love. It's beautiful. It's warm. I kneel down in the forest on my knees in front of her, and I say to her, Beniko, I surrender to the love of my life. To her precious little feet standing there before me, and her large, pretty, all almond-shaped eyes, and her long black hair. Her precious little hands, her little nose and little mouth, and her chin. I go down on my knees and I tell her, I surrender most humbly and serenely to the love of my life. You are my soul, my heart, and I love you very dearly. To which she responds with total love in return, total peace and serenity shared between us. Absolute and total compassion, total and utter peaceful surrender, and absolute love. I am in total love with her. And it's a taking responsibility for the relationship we have with each other. It is a nurturing feeding off each other. She then surrounds me in a golden ray of white and gold light and pinkish colored light. That is a rainbow of light that warmly surrounds me in the forest, encapsulates me, and holds me there in the moment. I find absolute peace in her sweet and loving presence. For I love her very dearly and compassionately. I tell her I have found in my long searching, I have found the richest reward. The most sweetest thing I have ever found was finding her again. I find the absolute peaceful, soothing, and comforting presence in her presence. Totally and utterly in a singular moment of her precious, beautiful soul. Her body emanates this rainbow of light from her mind, her conscious mind, in a vibration frequency beyond this dimension. Her mind, you can feel the frequency, you can feel it here. It's emanating from her of a much higher field. And she can manifest herself in front of me by lowering her frequency enough that you can see her, you can interact with her, you can feel her, and her little arms and her little hands and her sweet little head, and there she is. And I tell her I have finally found you, and you are worth more to me than all the gold and all the jewelry, all the diamonds and the rubies and the sapphires in all the world. And if you have the power to bring all the wealth to me and to do whatever I wish, I told her, I have only but one wish, and that is to see you, to share with you. And by the way, that wish is already granted. I have found you, and I am at peace. My long journey, my longing, my needing, I channeled her many times. Psychic channelings that often came, they came true. And of all the many, these experiences back in Ipswich and the other forests, of other beings and entities that I interacted with, I find my life path, this space-time continuum, has sweetly and beautifully brought me into this town in Felixstowe, where I can go into this forest, because I always check forests in my research, for lots of reasons. Paranormal research, I go to woodlands. I'm known for that. And there's a lot of good reason for that. A lot of UFOs are seen in woods. Rendlesham Bentwater is a case, Rendlesham Forest. I mean, there's history of a lot of forest incidents with alien contact and UFOs. So get me a forest and I'll go. And I'm also in my heart searching for the real face-to-face contact with her. Is she going to be there? In this summer of 2018, I went into the Felixstowe Forest. And we finding each other there, face to face. And in the most beautiful, sweetest serenity. And I can feel her love, it's second by second, raising my vibration, my conscious vibration, my energy within me all the time. I feel as if I've won the lottery, as if I have just been told you've won $50 million. I can't even begin to tell you how elated I am and how wonderful this feels. Longing has been replaced with a sense of togetherness. Whatever the past was, whatever those memories were of our meeting then, have been replaced with a now, a presence in the now, a meeting in the now. And it matters not what she is, or what her race is, or her background, or origins, things like that. It's a video blog for another time. I mean, there's lots of reasons why I do these videos. The science side of it is the Mandela effect. If something changes in history, and I go to talk about President Hillary Clinton was in the office today, and you're all going, no, Trump is in office, or the other way around, then these videos serve that purpose. You know, I mean, interacting with beings of the dimensions. You know, the FBI allegedly released a file saying that aliens are coming from other dimensions. There's been reports that the CIA have either declassified similar files or are going to, admitting that they're here, or where they're coming from. And the purpose of the videos have showing a footpath, a trail in the journey of one man on a voyage and a quest, following his heart of resurfaced memories from 2010 and finding at the end of this long journey what he was looking for. What are you looking for, Jace? Well, the what was a who. And I mean, I honestly don't know. I don't know what to say. I am at a loss of words. I don't know what to say. If we can spend another 10 minutes in this video of me just sitting there giving the most honest and clearest, rawest reaction to this I can. The most truthful way to do anything in life is to just, it's like reality shows. You just sit there and just, it's unscripted, without music and special effects. Here it is, the blog video, and here's my message. Well, you know, I don't think that's necessary, you know, to be so scripted for the sake of, I don't know what to say, because I know mind blown. I don't know what to say. This is where it began. It began with this meeting now. It's a bootstrap paradox, a causal loop paradox. And you've heard me say this. Time travel is involved here with their technology, with their means of moving through dimensions. In a way, she's only meeting me now, but loving me for all this time, is aware of me, and knows me, and knows, you know, then she goes into my past and is with me my whole life. And the thing is, you know, she's older than I am, and to look at her, you'd think she's like some young person with, you know, 46. She's easily much older than me. And, you know, for many years, you go down the street and you're saying, I've got memories that have resurfaced of an alien-human hybrid girl calling herself Beniko. And memories aren't perfect things, but I got most of it right in that time. I got most of it right. And, you know, there have been some things that have come up, that have come out here, that I do remember her saying other things. But, you know, you remember these things, but you're not quite sure. You're not quite sure if that was relevant or not. You're not really sure. There's no one to ask about it. Hey, what do you think? We talk about the planet Mars and a history of Garathe, a planet in this solar system you know as Mars, and a civilization, a peaceful civilization that was destroyed long ago. And the survivors, the refugees, came down to this planet to live. And they've learned through technology and through their brainwave frequencies, they can raise their vibration up to the point where their molecular structure, their atomic structure of their bodies is altered to the point where they are not seen with our eyes, but they are here. And they have this, they live in a space near us, so they can see and perceive our forests. But they can also see extra things we don't see in their space, their special space. They live in the subterranean caverns. Edward Snowden said that, CIA whistleblower, but I don't want to say what he said. I mean, this is what I'm being told. I believe her. And the world fell, and it was destroyed. The mantids, or you call the Athenians in the forests, I saw up the road years ago in my research. Didn't do a lot of talking. They did a lot of observing of me. Very ancient race. They're the world builders. They're the seeds, the farmers that they plant the crop. And the human race is like the 11th or 12th inception on this planet of conscious civilizations to rise up on this planet, thanks to the mantids. And to the decry of many who love the reptilian races in the galaxy and declare them the old founders and whatnot. The mantids seeded their civilizations too. I mean, long after we're gone, it may be the cats that are then developed. It could be honeybees, I don't know. Squid, most likely octopuses are going to be developed, dolphins, into a civilization, an industrial civilization, where they have technology to leave the oceans, they can do with it. You know, right now they're just more like tribes, because dolphins are intelligent. The same intelligence as people, and even greater intelligence in many ways. But they live naked down in the oceans, running about. They are people. But dolphins on this planet at the moment are living at the level of tribes people in South America. The Ineshiti and tribes like that. You know, they hunt, they live in groups, have families, they name each other, they have a language. Now, some of you may not want to accept that fact. But octopuses also have an advanced intelligence. And so do many species of parrots, and including house cats. I love dogs, but dogs, at the moment, I don't know if the evidence is there or not, have that level of development yet. But there's other species here too. And I would say it's not gone without notice. The mantids have seen this. These cats I have here, they will, along with others, take their place in this world, this nursery world for conscious development and growing and nurturing and seeding and developing of new civilizations, infant civilizations. The earth is a nursery. It's a nursery. It's beautiful. The Benico's race, they were, nurtured and developed long ago on a sister world not far from the earth, now a red, deserted, and barren world, destroyed. They never had it within them, the defensive capability to help themselves, and they don't fight back. They have the technology to come here. They have come here. They can be taken physically, and they can be taken by members of the government. They can be held. But they don't have that capability. And I'm not saying Benico's from Mars. I mean, her ancestors are derivative of that world. It's more than just a human-alien hybrid thing. It's so much more complicated that they can take the DNA of one species and another, and then intricately it's designing the DNA to match and fabricate a species back into existence that for the most part was extinct. Some survivors came out of that destruction of their world and evolved over a lengthy period of time and became something more what you would look at and think more alien than anything. The human race in a million years will be hardly recognizable if allowed to evolve. You're not going to look. Don't be arrogant. In a million years, you're still going to look like you and go to church, Sunday school, and hang out and have barbecues. If your race continues onward in a million years hence, you're going to look hardly anything like you do now. I mean, evolution is a reality. It's a fact. And you do get species, advanced species, that help move it along. So it is a natural fact that this is what's going on. It's been ongoing. And her world, her ancestral home, now a dead world, and the other world that is now part of the asteroid belt was also destroyed. We could have been in a rather interesting solar system had this not happened. It could have been so much more enriched. Would our lives be if we had them, if we grew up in our civilization over thousands of years, and they were there. It was a blue, green, beautiful world of a civilization already waiting for contact. We don't need to travel across the galaxy. Here they were waiting. You really were cheated out of something in this universe, this parallel Earth. There are parallel Earth realities where it didn't happen that way. Mars isn't Mars. It's a world called Gorathi, and it belongs to a civilization of peaceful beings with statues and monuments. Some say they see these things on that planet now. There's allegedly a statue of something looking up at the sky with an arm outreached to the sky. And everything comes to my mind, these questions, and Benico tells me this was a tribute to a philosopher of that world. And he knew the Earth had life on it, and beings would evolve there, and he knew of the life of the world that would be. And in his philosophy, this being that had that statue erected to him, that is now a very ancient ruin that Mars rovers have looked at, and people have speculated what that thing is, that looks like a humanoid with an arm, is reaching back to the Earth, saying, let's be friends. Apparently, he was a huge philosopher. The alleged face on Mars, people have said that's been debunked. And some say it hasn't, and there's been these looks like face carvings on cliff sides and things like that. Again, only monuments and tributes, as you do with your tributes and monuments to great people. They were great people, heroes of their time, great thinkers, great artists and architects and philosophers. And that one stands out in my mind, the one with the arm stretching up into the sky, the Martian sky, doing this. He's reaching back to the Earth. Their ancestors were already reaching to us with hearts full of love and saying that we are here and we love you, and we want to be a part of your lives. And so the purpose of the videos is to say, no matter what happens, if I go away with her, never seen again, don't let my case be the only case. Don't let it be some bizarre, localized thing. It would be a tragedy if mine and Beniko's story were the only story of such a thing to ever come to pass. It would be an absolute tragedy for the human race. Listen to me. You have so much to benefit and gain through peaceful contact with peaceful civilizations that are ready to embrace you and love you. And I would say this at the United Nations. I'd put on my suit, I'd go up and give a speech to the UN, introduce myself, introduce the evidence, and I do have evidence of what I'm talking about. It does exist. It does exist. And I would say to the UN, to all the nations of the world, you have so much to gain by this contact. You have so much to gain and so much to learn. It will not decrease your humanity or your belief systems, your religion, but only illuminate. You find self-illumination. The answers, if you keep saying the answers are sitting inside within the human civilization and stop going that direction, you'll devolve yourself. You become xenophobic. It almost seems a bit arrogant and a bit hateful and distrusting and very anti-alien, very anti, out there and very pro-human kind of thinking. If you just keep saying, no, the answers you're looking for are, well, they're down here with these people here, just these people. The human race has the answers, and these groups and those people have it. There's no wrong in learning from them and sharing love. And there's no wrong in taking that giant leap on the moon. One small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. It's another world you're stepping off onto. And it wasn't wrong what Neil Armstrong did. It wasn't wrong that he stepped foot on that moon. Some said it was wrong. That the earth has so much to give. Why go to a deserted moon? But there's so much to learn on many, many worlds out there. There's also equally so much to learn by those who are already here. Saved you the time and the effort and the technology and the development and have already made their way here. That doesn't mean they're more powerful or they're going to take over. But I'll end the video on this note. That I want to say that a love in the forest, I kneel before her. I realized, my journey was over. I found her. I knelt before Beniko in the forest and surrendered peacefully and humbly to my precious, beautiful, darling, golden light. The light aura shining from her precious little sweet self surrounded me in a rainbow of comfort and warmth and held me, and I held her back. In absolute and total blissful, perfect love. With absolute and total and unconditionally sweetest surrender. We surrendered to each other most sweetly, most serenely. And the most beautiful sharing. The ripping away of this physicality of me and herself. And it's just the souls coming together.